After exiting the gate, one of Dong-suk's subordinates asked if they really had to be so careful instead of just killing Jin-Woo and Jin-Ho. Dong-suk was annoyed with his subordinates being dense. He reminded them that their goal was the magic crystals, so it was best not to fight the boss inside its chamber and instead let it feast on Jin-Woo and Jin-Ho, then mine the crystals once it goes back to sleep. Cho-kyu asked if he should light up the place, but Dong-suk didn't think it was a good idea, and he planned to just use the spider tunnels to sneak back in again. And if it didn't work out, he planned to take down the boss themselves, grab some mana crystals, and retrieve Jin-Ho's fancy gear as compensation. He also started looking up Jin-Ho's background so he could show up at his funeral to avoid suspicions. He was certain that both Jin-Woo and Jin-Ho had no chance of surviving, as both he and Kyuwon were certain that none of them could take the boss down alone. Jin-Ho stopped Jin-Woo from fighting the boss. He was certain that an E-rank like Jin-Woo had no chance at all, as it would need a B-rank hunter to take down a C-rank boss alone. He suggested that they look for a way to escape instead. Jin-Woo thought Jin-Ho was right. He knew that the boss in front of him was significantly stronger compared to the golem and the blue venom fang Kasaka, but he wanted to face it. He thought it was worth a shot as he was level 18 now. Jin-Woo charged at the boss, and he declared that the real hunt begins. At the same time, Chairman Go had just finished attending another meeting on energy development. It was starting to wear him down. He thought these tasks didn't really suit him. Woo Jinchul explained that after the last meeting, Chairman Go's schedule was clear, so he asked for some guidance, also hoping it was the change of pace that Chairman Go needed. Chairman Go happily agreed. Jin-Woo skillfully dodged the spider's attacks while continuously slashing at its limbs. However, he couldn't cause any damage as its exoskeleton was too hard, while one wrong move could be his death because of the spider's overwhelming strength. Meanwhile, Jin-Ho couldn't believe what he was seeing. He concluded that Jin-Woo was one of the false rankers who had the ability to control their magic power to get a lower ranking. He was afraid for his life, as he had heard that most false rankers were lunatics thirsty for blood. The spider's tough exterior was still causing Jin-Woo trouble. He had failed to cause any damage while his fatigue continued to accumulate, and he would slow down once it reached a certain value. Jin-Woo knew that his dagger's drain and paralysis would be the keys to victory, and he charged towards the boss, planning to attack the weak spot around its eyes. However, he had to jump back as the spider spit out acids that could melt even rocks. Jin-Woo realized that the spider was much stronger than he thought, and he was certain that he couldn't let the battle drag on. He used his dash skill to buff his speed and get closer to the spider, and although his dagger couldn't pierce the spider's exoskeleton, its debuffs were applied. Jin-Woo continued to strike the spider, and he even tried to increase his speed further. However, he suddenly slowed down when his fatigue reached 70, and he was thrown away after receiving the spider's attack. The spider immediately attacked again to finish him off. Jin-Woo was still planted on the ground because of his fatigue. However, he managed to use his full recovery in time, then jumped at the spider's head to stab its eyes non-stop and continuously apply the drain and paralysis effects of his dagger. Jin-Woo didn't stop until the spider died. He gained multiple levels after killing it, but he thought he would be in trouble if he didn't save the full recovery from his daily quest rewards. Jin-Ho couldn't believe what he just saw. He was even more convinced that Jin-Woo was a false ranker, so he immediately approached Jin-Woo, who was wondering how much he could sell the essence stone that he got. Jin-Woo was confused, as Jin-Ho even called him boss while offering him some drinking water. At the same time, Dong-suk's group appeared from one of the spider tunnels, and they were surprised that the two were still alive. Meanwhile, Chairman Go and Woo Jinchul were sparring inside a training room. Woo Jinchul was impressed by how powerful the chairman still is, while Chairman Go praised his improvements, and they agreed that it was also important that a hunter work on his body and mind, instead of solely relying on powers, as one could often find themselves in extreme situations inside the dungeon. Dong-suk's group was surprised to see the dead boss. They thought it was actually weak, unlike what they first thought, so Jin-Ho's fancy gear was enough to kill it. Dong-suk asked Jin-Ho if he was Yu Myung-hun, the head of Yujin Construction's son. He offered to give Jin-Ho a chance, and he asked him to kill Jin-Woo. He added that the only way he was walking out of the dungeon alive was if he became their accomplice. Dong-suk wanted to be careful. He thought it would be troublesome if Jin-Ho's sword had some special effects that were enough to kill the C-rank boss. However, Dong-suk declared that Jin-Ho would die together with Jin-Woo if he refused to cooperate. Jin-Ho walked in front of Jin-Woo, but he pulled out his sword and prepared himself to fight Dong-suk's group. Jin-Woo was surprised by Jin-Ho's decision. Same with Dong-suk, but he immediately gave the order to kill Jin-Woo first, and all of them showed their killing intent as they walked closer to the two. Jin-Woo was prepared to take action. However, he was distracted when he received a quest to kill all 6 of them, so he was hit by Kyuwon's attack. Meanwhile, Heejin met up with Gina and Lee Bora at the shopping district. After entering a cafe, they started talking about how it was going for them in their respective guilds. Heejin explained that it was just the usual for her, while Gina and Lee Bora explained how Cha-Hyeon took down an A-rank beast that was giving the whole team some difficulty without breaking a sweat during their training. They thought they were really lucky to be part of the White Tiger Guild and the Hunters Guild, which are both in the big leagues and not one of those strike teams that have a suspiciously high fatality rate. While lying on the ground injured, Jin-Woo remembered that survival of the fittest is the reality, and that the world is filled with violence, deception, and betrayal. He started to grow numb of it. However, he wondered if the system needed to keep him alive for some reason, as it was requiring him to kill the 6 people that were threatening his life. But he decided to use the system to get stronger. Dong-suk was surprised after seeing Jin-Woo get up, but they just laughed, thinking that Kyuwon had held back. Jin-Woo remembered that the weak always get taken from. Afterwards, he asked the group if they were prepared to be preyed on themselves since they were hunters. Dong-suk and his group stared in silence, but Juntae stepped up and asked Dong-suk to let him handle Jin-Woo. Juntae mocked Jin-Woo, thinking that the weakest hunter of all mankind had no chance against him. However, Jin-Woo took out his dagger and casually beheaded Juntae. Dong-suk couldn't understand how an E-rank managed to kill a D-rank like Juntae, while Jin-Woo didn't know what to feel after killing someone. However, he had no plan to back down, knowing that the only way he could survive was to kill all 6 of them. Dong-suk's party finally took the situation seriously, but Jin-Woo killed them one by one until Dong-suk was the only one alive. Jin-Ho realized that Jin-Woo was even stronger compared to when he was fighting the boss, while Dong-suk thought that Jin-Woo had been hiding his real strength after seeing his party die in mere seconds. However, he declared that he was nothing like his party, and he used his reinforcement skill to make his body as tough as steel. He was also certain that Jin-Woo was just relying on his speed and his dagger's special effects, so he attacked Jin-Woo with confidence that he could win. However, Jin-Woo just grabbed his face and slammed his head on the ground. Dong-suk couldn't understand what had happened, but he concluded that Jin-Woo wasn't an E-rank, and he asked for Jin-Woo's mercy while offering to let him have all the magic crystals. Jin-Woo reminded Dong-suk that he had tried to kill him 3 times, but Dong-suk declared that he wouldn't get away after killing him, as he started to threaten Jin-Woo with his little brother. However, Jin-Woo reminded him that nothing that happens inside the dungeon ever goes out, and he beheaded Dong-suk before he could even finish his words. Afterwards, Jin-Woo received a notification that he had finished his quest, while Jin-Ho started throwing up, seeing all the dead bodies in front of him. The Hunters Association employee was confused that all of the C ranks had died while an E-rank Jin-Woo and a D-rank Jin-Ho survived the raid. However, she recognized all of Jin-Ho's fancy gear, and she concluded that it was the reason behind their survival. At the same time, Jin-Woo noticed the rewards he got from the quest, but what interested him was the murder intent skill that could cut all of its target's abilities in half. After finishing up the debriefing, Jin-Ho was still calling Jin-Woo his boss, but Jin-Woo didn't seem to care, and instead he was glad that he gave Jinna an umbrella as it started raining. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to drop a like if you enjoy this video, and please subscribe so you won't miss the next part. And just comment down any anime you want to see in this channel.